Let's pay our respect to the Buddha. Close your eyes and reflecting the qualities of the Buddha. Say with me. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. My homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's pay our respect again to our teacher, Pinat Loku Swamin Wahanse. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, today we have it's a very beautiful teaching. This teaching tells us about the special quality of the Arahants. So you all know who is an Arahant. Arahant is someone who enlightened. So enlightened means someone who has understood four noble truths, or we can say someone who escaped from the circle of birth and decay and die, and someone who end all the sufferings. We should learn what sort of lifestyle they had and how their freedom, how their inner peace, how their inner happiness reflected from his teachings. So we have to go through their life stories and understand. So today I picked up some special teaching to understand about the Arahant Sariputta. So can anyone bring, or are there anyone who knows about the Arahant Sariputta? Tell me what is the special of him?
He was the Buddha's chief disciple.
Very good. He was the Buddha's chief disciple. He wasn't the first monk who ordained under Buddha's dispensation, but he was the chief disciple. So he had a great wisdom, and again he's according to the stories, he seems like pretty um, pretty like in appearance, and also very kind-hearted monk. So without discussing, he's the one of the most wise monk, but you may not find him he's that sort of a wise person if you just being with him without asking couple of questions, because he didn't show off who he is, because that's a way of enlightened person, because they don't want to put like uh, PhD, MSc, or likewise, because that's not the way of liberated person. So because it's not a way of them, they don't need that actually. They already escaped from the samsara. When Buddha was alive, you can find that in these teachings you can find a great democracy, or the freedom to speech was there. It's a kind of a amazing. So you know that even the Buddha's chief disciple was the Arahant Sariputta. So he is about to leave we call that Jetvanarama, where the place Buddha was lived at that time. So he just ended up his rainy retreat, and so he wanted to go to another place. So at that time, another monk came to complain about Sariputta to the Buddha. So they had freedom to give a complaint about Sariputta, even complain about the chief monk toward the Buddha. So Buddha did not hesitate to like whenever someone complain, He didn't do like just let it go. Whenever someone complain, he has a way of solving the problem. So at that time, Buddha asking the other monk, or to in here to Sariputta, to come and meet the Buddha, and it's like open to everyone. It's like everyone can complain, and everyone can bring their correctness. They can show it in front of the Buddha. So that's sort of a culture that had. So the monk who complained about Arahant Sariputta, he seems like he was bit jealous about Sariputta. Why? Everyone praising and everyone respecting, everyone taking care of Arahant Sariputta, and seems like it's like he wanted the same sort of respect, but seems like he did not receive that. So you all know that when our minds start to compete with someone, we always used to find faults. So it, it doesn't matter the other person doing something intentionally to hurt you or not. In your mind, you always try to find the fault. So, the same thing happened in those days. So when Sariputta was going out of that monastery, maybe we are not sure what has happened actually. His robe maybe touched the other monk's body. So his complaint was, Sariputta like hit me and went without even saying sorry. So in those days, the Mahamoggallana, the other chief disciple, was also in the monastery. So then Buddha asked that Sariputta to come and meet Buddha. And at that time, Moggallana, the other chief arahant, went along with Ananda. The Ananda is like, he's not an enlightened monk, but he's a stream entrant monk, going around the monastery and knocking the doors and saying, every monks, please come and come to see the Buddha. Arahant Sariputta will deliver a great speech there. They knew that because this is what I want to bring first. So because you all can go through the sutta, but there are some special things you have to learn, and then you can go through the sutta and you can understand it whenever you see that. So whenever arahant got a complaint, that is the time, most of the time, they show who they are by showing their correctness actually. And not only the correctness, but also their spiritual level they have. So this is a nice teaching. We can understand what sort of mind Arahant Sariputta had. So let's go through the sutta. So I don't think this sutta we need to translate like word to word Pali to English. So therefore, I will first say this in English. Like I will read the story, then we can understand it at the end of the sutta. So if you have any, if there is any question, so try to note it down, and at the end of the sutta we can discuss it. So don't let your mind stuck in a place where you shouldn't stuck, because we are learning through the sutta. So the name of the sutta is Sariputta Sīhanāda, or the Sariputta's Lion's Roar. At one time, the Buddha was staying near Savatthi Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's monastery. Then Venerable Sariputta went up to the Buddha, bowed, sat down to one side, and said to him, Sir, I have completed the rainy season residence at Savatthi. I wish to depart to wander the countryside. Please, Sariputta, go at your convenience. Then Sariputta got up from his seat, bowed, and respectfully fully circled the Buddha, keeping him on his right before leaving. So this is a way of paying respect to the Buddha in those days. So now also you may have seen that if you got a chance to see a pagoda, the Dhatu Stupa, or the where the Buddha's relics were placed. If there is a room to circle, devotees used to circle reflecting the qualities of the Buddha. So, and then not long after Sariputta had left, a certain monk said to Buddha, "Sir, Venerable Sariputta attacked me and left without saying sorry." So you know that Buddha knows about Sariputta, but Buddha did not just replied like just let it go. I know you are saying you are lying. Not like that. So see that how Buddhas react into such things. So the Buddha addressed one of the monk. Please, monk, in my name, tell Sariputta that the teacher summons him. Yes, sir. That monk replied. He went to Sariputta and said to him, Reverend Sariputta, the teacher summons you. Yes, Reverend Sariputta replied. Now at that time, the Venerable Mahamoggallana and Ananda, taking latchkey, went from dwelling to dwelling, saying, Come forth, venerable, come forth, venerables. Now Venerable Sariputta will roar his lion's roar in the presence of the Buddha. So, as I said, the other Arahants knows that Arahants are never show off their qualities. If you can remember the last sutta we learned last week, there are special qualities we can find in Sappurisas. They don't want to show off their qualities. So, but in a situation like that, it's demanding. So at that time, they are telling who they are. So the Mahamoggallana, the Arahant, knew that what will happen. So that's why he's asking the other monks to come and gather around the Buddha. Then Venerable Sariputta went up to the Buddha, bowed, and sat down to one side. The Buddha said to him, Sariputta, one of your spiritual companions has made this complaint. Venerable Sariputta attacked me and left without saying sorry. Then, sir, someone who had not established mindfulness of the body might well attack one of their spiritual companions and leave without saying sorry. So, this is the reply of the Sariputta, the first reply. That means it it can be happen, but not from a person like me. He's saying, sir, someone who had not established mindfulness of the body. So you know what is the established mindfulness of the body. Can anyone bring that Pali term of that? There are four foundations of mindfulness, and first is body. Anyone? Oh, right. CB replied, that's correct. Kaya Anupassana. So there are four foundations of mindfulness. One is in the on body, and second feelings. The third mind. The fourth is the Dhamma, or the things arising in the mind. So the Sariputta's reply is that monk's the complaint can be happen from anyone who does not have that foundation of mindfulness on their body. Why? They see this body as me or mine or myself. But if someone established their mindfulness in their body, they do not see this body as me or mine or myself. Why? There is a reason. They see the rising and falling this body, and they see this body as a reality, not like we all create kind of a virtual reality in our mind, like sensual pleasures, and we are creating that I in our mind using this body. So if someone has that great mindfulness, that means they may break this body from their mind into 32 parts, maybe to 4 elements, maybe from their breathing. Oh, there are different ways of practicing mindfulness. So they I have understood this body is not me or mine or myself. So because of that, they don't feel this body as me or mine or myself, and they don't feel like if someone hurt to this body, they hurt to me. They don't feel so. And again, they don't want to show off this body, and they don't want to, since they don't feel this body me or mine or myself from this end, they don't see the other end also. It's me, someone, me or mine or myself. This is rising and falling, cause and effect. So there is no way of doing such a thing from a person who has that quality. So then Arahant Sariputta saying, suppose they were to toss both clean and unclean things on the earth. So now the hereafter describing Arahant Sariputta about himself from similes. So from like how he see this body actually. Suppose they were to toss both clean and unclean things on the earth, like feces, urine, spit, pus, and blood. The earth isn't horrified, repelled, and disgusted because of this. In the same way, I live with a heart like earth, abundant, expansive, limitless, free of enmity and ill will. So here is the thing. So if you heard think that someone, not you, want to hurt the earth, and what you are doing is you are urinating to the earth. Earth won't get angry. So likewise, Arahant Sariputta saying, I am like this earth, even though people put pleasant things or unpleasant things. Sometimes people praising. My mind is like earth and it's not shaking. Saying the qualities the mind has. That abundant, expansive, that means it's not like narrow-minded mind. Limitless, free of enmity and ill will. Someone who had not established mindfulness of the body might well attack one of their spiritual companions and leave without saying sorry. Then Sariputta saying, Arahant Sariputta saying, suppose they were to wash both clean and unclean things in the water, like feces, urine, spit, pus, and blood. The water isn't horrified, repelled, and disgusted because of this. In the same way, I live with a heart like water, abundant, expansive, limitless, free of enmity and ill will. Someone who had not established mindfulness of the body might well attack one of their spiritual companions and leave without saying sorry. So, when you learn about arahants, we have to be mindful again about another thing, which is sometimes we try to see ourselves through this. How can we do that? Isn't it difficult? Or if someone do something too bad to me, if someone urinate on me, should I be like just like him? Isn't it like inferior feeling? So you shouldn't compare you with the Arahant mind, because we feel that self, we feel that me, we feel that mine, we feel that myself. In a place we don't have that in reality. So what we feel is a completely different what someone who see the reality as it is. So That's why they don't fight, and that's why our emotions come in front and asking to fight or defend ourselves. So, so these teachings help us to understand. First of all, we have to understand there is no self, and then these teachings shows us how a person who does not have that self identity lived in this world, and what sort of freedom they accumulated and was there throughout their lives. Again, you have to see these things through the Dhamma, by applying then Dhamma to yourself, not to your identity. What is the difference that? So when you apply this Dhamma to yourself, like how, what sort of a freedom someone can gain if they don't feel that self, they don't feel that me or mine or myself, and again it's the reality, that's the truth. We came born to this world and we are dying. We came with nothing and we are not taking anything from here except the karma which created from the own intention, that is the energy taking these five aggregates of clinging to turn into something else, another living being. So if someone does not have that identity, so what sort of freedom they have? That's what we have to understand. Okay, then you can see that the first Arahant Sariput said about the earth, then saying about the water. This is the second element. First earth, then water, then you probably know what is the third. The third one, the Arahant Sariput saying, suppose the fire were to burn both clean and unclean things, like feces, urine, spit, pus, and blood. People put things, clean things and unclean things, to the fire. The fire isn't horrified, repelled, and disgusted because of this. In the same way, I live with a heart like fire, abundant, expansive, limitless, free of enmity and ill will. Someone who had not established mindfulness of the body might well attack one of their spiritual companions and leave without saying sorry. So Arahant Sariputta have practiced this in their life, like seeing breaking this body into four elements. There are elements which turn into earth. There are another things in this body turn into water. There are another thing connecting with the energy, and there is another thing in this body connecting with the air. So it's like four elements create are here, and once this life over, four elements go into four elements. So this is the way he break this body and understood. And again he's saying, suppose the wind was to blow on both clean and unclean things, like feces, urine, spit, pus, and blood. And wind isn't horrified, repelled, and disgusted because of this. In the same way, I live with a heart like the wind, abundant, expansive, and limitless, free of enmity and ill will. Someone who had not established mindfulness of the body might well attack one of their spiritual companions and leave without saying sorry. Then he's bringing different examples, similes, to show that how he does not appreciate this body. How doesn't he feel this body like a special thing? Because Arahant, once he attained the enlightenment, there are two similes we can often find they saying about their life. In that, in enlightened verses, stanzas, they're saying that after the enlightenment, they feel like they have done what they should have done, and they are expecting the salary for what they have done. So likewise, they don't afraid about the death. They are expecting the death. It's not like suicidal thought, because they don't feel like that, but they don't afraid about death. They know that once the death happens, The rest of the sufferings which still here also finish because there is no ego to connect it to a next life. So that sort of life they have. So because of that, they don't feel any special in this body. They know it's like four elements are here and nothing special. So he's bringing different examples. See, he's saying, suppose a rag was to wipe up both clean and unclean things like feces, urine, spit, pus, and blood. The rag isn't horrified, repelled, and disgusted because of this. In the same way, I live with a heart like a rag, abundant, expansive, limitless, free of enmity and ill will. Someone who had not established mindfulness of the body might well attack one of their spiritual companions and leave without saying sorry. So he does not feel any special in you. That's amazing thing which we can see from Arahant. You know that this is a kind of a completely opposite thing. If you can see, because when you learn what Arahant Sariputta has taught and what he is capable, how his knowledge and what sort of mindfulness he had, even you slightly know, I'll go through about the Abhidhamma where the Sariputta, Arahant Sariputta is mastered. So he is amazing person who had a huge knowledge. One day he's saying like, I can probably answer to any question anyone who's asking about the life. So that sort of wisdom he had, but that wisdom does not create any like personality to maintain. So these teachings are really helpful even to us. Why? Whenever we teach something, whenever people praise like, oh, you are teaching amazing, what you are teaching is, you are a very good teacher. So compared to Arhan Sariputta, we are like dust because his knowledge and everything. Buddha saying that if you want to follow as a monk, another monk, follow Arhan Sariputta. So then we have to just let go any praise. For what? So that sort of purity they had. They don't even identify themselves from what they have, from their knowledge even. Suppose a boy or a girl of a corpse worker tribe, holding a pot and clad in rags, were to enter a town or village. They'd enter with a humble mind. In the same way, I live with a heart like a boy or a girl of a corpse worker tribe, abundant, expansive, limitless, free of enmity and ill will. Someone who had not established mindfulness of the body might well attack one of their spiritual companions and leave without saying sorry. This is again amazing. See, he's not a person like people just reject, like a person who's in the tribe. So kings searching and to get a chance to offer alms to the Aransari Buddha. Wealthy people searching to ask Arahant Sariputta to come and have lunch in their mansions. And Arahant Sariputta, you know that there is a caste system in India. So it's a kind of even after 2600 years after even. So nowadays even that caste system is like it's a part of the Indian culture. We can't even let it go. That sort of a root that has. Buddha is the one who said that the monks of this Buddha's dispensation is different. They come from different caste. He's giving example like the ocean. There are monks who comes from Brahmins. There are monks who come from the Khattiya. That means like the wealthy people. Brahmin, Khattiya, Vaishya. The Khattiya means that the one who's like the kings and those people that. one who's ruling the country, and the Shudra means the workers, laborers. But he's giving an example like this dispensation. Buddha's monks are like the ocean. Even water comes from Ganges, that Ganga river, Yamuna, Achiravati, Saraswati, from different rivers. But after it comes to the ocean, it doesn't separate this water is Ganges water, this water from this river. It says what ocean water, and it has that salt taste, not another taste. Likewise, all the monks are same, no different in these monks. So but people paying respect to that caste, even so that Arahant Sariputta comes from a Brahmin family, but he don't want to he does not feel that person as like identity in him. Then again he say, suppose there was a bull with his horns cut, gentle, well tamed, and well trained, he'd wander from street to street and square to square without hurting anyone with his feet or horns. In the same way, I live with a heart like a bull, with horns cut, abundant, expansive, limitless, free of enmity and ill will. Someone who had not established mindfulness of the body might well attack one of their spiritual companions and leave without saying sorry. He's comparing himself to an animal, uh, to a to a bull without horns. You know what? If a situation like this happened to us, probably we won't say like this. We may say like, I have this much of education, I have done this much of things, and I have this much of knowledge, and I have meditated for this much of time. And so, do you think I will be a person like that? We may try to show off what we have gained from like the like showing off. In here, he's just 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 like neglecting these things, people giving values. So then saying, suppose there was a woman or a man who was young, youthful, and fond of adornments, and had bathed their head in the carcass of a snake, or a dog or a human were hung around their neck, they'd be horrified, repelled, and disgusted. In the same way, I'm horrified, repelled, and disgusting by this rotten body. That means not like that feeling we get. It's like how he see this body as it is. Someone who had not established mindfulness of the body might well attack one of the spiritual companion and leave without saying sorry. So he does not feel this body is like something to praise or something to gain. He sees like a rotten, repelled thing. Suppose someone was carrying around a ball of fat that was leaking and oozing from holes and cracks. In the same way, I carry around this body that leaking and oozing from holes and cracks. Yeah, so it's like that we have holes in eyes, nose, mouth, ears, and likewise, it it taking out disgusting things. So I see like that this body. So there is no like I don't feel any special in here. So in here we have to remember one thing. Uh, what we are right now in our body is not the natural way. This is the artificial way. You may say, no, Bante, I didn't apply any makeup. Do you see so? No, but in reality, this is not the nature. This is the artificial way. Why? Think that how you see in the morning, you what in your ears, eyes, and nose and mouth. That's what this body is. We are giving kind of a We are the one giving this kind of a service. If not, we can't bring this body to the public. So that's the nature of this body is again discussing. That's the truth. Even we afraid to admit or not. So if we don't brush our teeth, that's the nature of this body showing disgusting. That's why we are doing that. So when it comes to a nowadays woman or female, they have to do thousands of things to make themselves beautiful to us. So going to this, that what it called, nail studios and everything. So but the nature of this is disgusting. It's, we have to admit that, and we have to understand that. Why we have to understand it? We can fight against it. We can, Buddha is the one who always praised about living clean without having that disgusting body, like always. But we have to admit the truth. Why we have to admit the truth? We can't avoid 100%. One day we have to accept that's the truth of this reality. So then Arahant Sariputta finishing with that, then that monk rose from his seat. He couldn't hold what he's holding, that his wrong idea, placed his robe over one shoulder, bowed with his head at the Buddha's feet and said, I have made a mistake, sir. It was foolish, stupid, and unskilful of me to speak ill of venerable Sariputta with an incorrect, hollow, false, untruthful claim. Please, sir, accept my mistake for what it is, so I will restrain myself in future. See, when someone open their self, how Buddha reply? Indeed, monk, you made a mistake. It was foolish, stupid, and unskillful of you to act in that way. But since you have recognized your mistake for what it is and have dealt with it properly, I accept it. For it is growth in the training of noble one to recognize a mistake of for what it is, deal with properly, and commit restraint in the future. So in this practice, in mindfulness practice or in Buddhist practice, if someone identify their mistake, it says this, I accept. So it says this, for it is growth in the training of the noble one to recognize a mistake of what it is, deal with it properly, and commit to restraint in the future. So it's like a wholesome thing if someone understands their own mistake. Then the Buddha saying to the Venerable Sariputta, Sariputta, forgive that fertile man before his head explodes into 7 pieces right here. This is a kind of a special thing. There is a Dhammapada verse. Dhammapada means that 4 stanzas saying that, Buddha saying, if someone do something bad to a spiritually enlightened person, their return can be happen in this very life. So that means karma. Karma will affect in 3 ways. One, ditta dhamma vedaniya. That means happening, that effect will happen in this very life. Upapajja vedaniya. In very next life. Aparaparya vedaniya. That means not this life, not right after, but before the enlightenment. They will go through that consequences. So if someone do something bad to spiritually enlightened person intentionally, there will be bad, very bad consequences. See, it's not like that person, the enlightened monk, doing something, hurting. That's their own karma vipaka, or their own consequences, what they have gained from their karma. So Buddha is asking from Arahant Sariputta, Venerable Sariputta, forgive that man, fertile man, that means Mogapuri, so that means like empty person, before his head explode into 7 pieces right here. Then Arahant Sariputta saying, I will pardon that venerable if he asks me. May the venerable please pardon me too. Let me try to find Pali, the Buddha, the Pali language. Here it says, Kama maham bante tassa ayasmato sache mangso ayasma evama. Kamatucha meso ayasma. So it's not like Arahant Sariput asking forgiveness. If that monk asking forgiveness, he will give. That's what it says. First and foremost thing is we have to understand our own emotions. If not, we don't know where it can bring us. Why? So that mistake, that we can't think like it was just suddenly happened. There must be any sort of enmity or kind of a jealousy towards that Arahant Sariputta, because if not, just saying such a thing is kind of hard to believe. So in the same way, we may see some sort of faults, like down, like the from the others, like the negative things. Most of the time there may be we see from the others, it it may come from maybe because of our misunderstanding. Maybe they did not mm, agree what we want them to admit. So likewise, if something like that happened to ourselves, we always try to find faults on that person. So instead of try to finding the faults of the others, it's I would say like very much better to finding our own defilements. So because then it will help us, definitely it will help us to improve ourselves. But finding others faults without proper compassion, it can create that ill will, enmity, and anger. Then again, it can change things like, I think we have talked about mm, I can remember that there is a nice study, research in like from a Harvard professor. It says ladder of inference. So in there, he's showing nice thing like when we don't see what is around. Actually, we see things according to our mood. So if he's bringing a nice story like when he's bringing a story like when you're about to park your car, if someone suddenly park their car, you feel anger at that time. You don't hear that bird chirping in the morning, it's already happening, but you feel that the tension in your from and sudden break, that the sound comes from the brake, and you feel that your heartbeat, and you feel that you're breathing so hard, you feel like your body get red, and you feel like a kind of a enemy coming out of that car. So even though there are so many nice things around, you don't see those things. Why? The way we see, it's like that means the emotions take us to a different places. So in there, the example they're saying like once that person comes out and showing like a kind of a respect and saying, I'm really sorry, my wife is in the labor room, and I have to go, I'm so hurry, and thank you very much giving this opportunity. If say so, then suddenly everything changed. It's like, guys, So in our mind, even though we don't see or reflect our own self, our current idea, our current position, our current statement is not based on reality. It's based on the data we have taken from the environment or from the surroundings, which also we have taken from our point of view. So, therefore, uh, if you feel any sort of anger towards anyone, don't hold it. Try to overcome from that. Try to let it go. So you, so from that, maybe we don't know. Sometimes Arahant Sariputta describing defilements like into like slight details, like think that sometimes he's saying like you may live in the monastery, you are not living in urban areas. You should be praised because you are living in a monastery where there is no chaos and you are having free time to meditate. But even though you are being in that place, you are still have thinking about sensual pleasures. You are like finding faults of the others. You are not good, and you shouldn't be praised. If think that when he's saying that, if a monk feels like personally, oh, he's personally accusing me, then that anger can rise, and it can hold in our mind and try to find a way to get the revenge. So those things can be happen. So we have to be mindful. I think kind of a most important thing is that, and he failed to understand who is Sariputta. He failed to understand who is Buddha. Buddha is a person, amazing person who can read others' mind. And he's so clear what has happened. Everything he couldn't find. And so I think the best thing is finding our own defilement. That's what I would like to say. If you can remember, there is a sutta called Dhammadayada Sutta. That means Buddha saying like, you have to you what you have to take from me, the dhamma, the understanding of the reality, not the other rest of the like the amisa means like the praise and the food and whatever the things you receive from the community. So then Buddha saying like how a person should live, and then Buddha going away from that place, and then Arahant Sariputta describing it in detail. And there is a nice sutta called Satya Vibhanga. That's where we can find that the Four Noble Truths breaking and in detail. That's also Arahant Sariputta's teaching, and there are amazing teachings. Yeah, that's true, Jonathan. In here we have to understand something special also, that even though you are very good, even though you are doing with the right intention, that doesn't mean that everyone else will understand your intention. So if it happen to a so even that sort of thing does not happen to a person like Arahant Sariputta, then what about us? So therefore, if anyone insult you, criticize you, if anyone couldn't understand your sacrifice, maybe your children, sometimes maybe your parents, maybe your husband, maybe your wife, do not upset about that. It is something does not work to even arhants even. So then to you or me, us, it can be. So that's true. So the Arya Savako and Sappurisa always used in, it's like there is no different we can find like most of the time actually not most of the time I couldn't find even a slight difference between Sappurisa and Arya Savako. It says like this, describing Aryanan Dasavi Aryadhammas Kovido Aryadhammi Sovinito, and again saying Sappurisanan Dasasi Satpurisa Dhammas Kovido Sappurisa Dhammi Sovinito. So then it must be a one meaning. There is a kind of a similarity, but Asubha is seeing the disgusting of that, but at the end it leads us to the freedom. It's not like feeling of disgusting. In here, it breaks into four elements. So what it help us to bring our mind to a kind of a neutral level where our mind does not attach to this rupa. Rupa means that the form. Then so then it can break so then we can directly meditate on feelings even. So it's like understanding the four elements meditation means like a meditation. It directly help us to overcome from the attachment of the clinging to this form. We may use different ways, but all those help us to understand the form in different ways to understand the form. About the anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So we may use the dhatu manasikara. That's what we call the four elements, and the asubha, what we have discussed about the 32 parts. So all those things rooted on contemplating on the body, on the foundation of the from four foundation of mindfulness, the first one. So it's like using a different technique, but at the end of the day what we are doing is we are seeing the impermanence of the rising and falling of this body. So do what you when you do a meditation, if it works for you, then do it, because how you can find that it's working for you, you feel inner peace and inner happiness and the freedom, and then just continue it. Let's wind up the program. Okay, let's say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Today we discussed a very beautiful sutta. We learned so many qualities of Chief Arahant, Arahant Sariputta. In this way we accumulated many good karma. Let's share all this good karma to all the devas, and let's share all this good karma to all our past relatives who would like to rejoice the blessings, merits we accumulated. And let's share all these merits with our teacher Pinat Lokaswaminas and all the monastic sangha who live all around the world. And let's share all these merits with each and everyone who would like to rejoice these merits, and especially the group who are uh, being here. By the power of these merits, may you be well, may you be happy, may your all good wishes come true, and may you all able to understand the Four Noble Truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
My friends, let's share merit Bante and ask for forgiveness. Okasa Wandami Bante, Maya Katang Punyang, Samina Anumoditabang. Samina Katang Punyang, Maihang Databang.
Sadhu, sadhu, anumodita.
Sadhu Sadhu Anumodami, Okasa Dwaratena, Katang Sabbang Achayang Kamatami Bante.
Kamami kamatapa.
Okasa Kamami Bante, Dutiyampi Okasa Kamami Bante, Tatiyampi Okasa Kamami Bante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Bante.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Namabuddhaya.